Hey friends, let's make the light up miniature winter house that's in our winter craft kit. Here's an example of a finished product. You can see that it's decorated really colorfully and it has cotton snow, and there's a little flickery light inside that will show up even more strongly if the room is a bit darker. So I'm going to set this one down and I'm going to show you all the materials that come in your kit so that you can create your own. In our kit, we have this piece of cardboard that has all of the pieces to create your house. It was made with a die cutter machine, and I'll explain how to put it together. And in our bag, we have a lot of decorations. We have colored paper, sequins, a little miniature tree, and some cotton to make snow with, and there's our little battery-powered light. So you don't have to be limited by what is in your kit. I'm going to show you a few ways that you can use these materials and others to make your house customized and make it your own. Something that we didn't include that you will need is some type of glue. I'm going to be showing how to use hot glue and tacky glue as two options to put your miniature house together and attach all the pieces. I'm also going to be using a glue stick for one step, but you could also use the tacky glue for that instead of the glue stick. So let's look at our parts that we have. In our kit, these come apart really easily. This is going to be our house. Now the window pieces, some of them might need a little extra help from your fingers to have the little loose pieces pop out of your windows. I'm just using my finger, but you could also gently use the end of a pair of scissors and just poke those through. See how that's making the window openings? So each side of the house, except for this back one, will have windows. And then there's the door. Okay, so after you've done that part, then your house is ready to assemble. Now, here's an important step. I'm going to think about how I want to decorate my house. For my original that I showed you, all of the color that was put on that house was done with colored markers. And that is a perfectly good way to color your house. So the easiest way to do it is to color it before you've assembled it. So think about the color scheme that you want to use. You could use markers like I'm going to show you, or you could use materials like tempera paint or even watercolor. So let's choose some colors to do our background for our winter house. I'm going to use a red marker to outline my windows. Remember, this is all easier to do as a flat piece before you get everything assembled. You can do it the other way, it's just a little more difficult. I'm going to outline my door there. You can fill the entire background in, or you can, like I'm going to do here, make designs. I'm going to do some stripes. You can leave some of the cardboard background showing. In fact, I think it looks a little bit like a gingerbread house if you leave the brown cardboard showing. So these are going to be sort of like the boards of the house here. You could draw pictures on it. You could put squiggly designs or patterns, however you want this to be yours. And after I'm done with this step, I'm going to show you about how to put the tissue paper behind each of the windows and door, because that's going to be something that you're going to want to do before you assemble it. So I may want to add more decorations to my house, but just for my example right now, I'm going to show you how to put it together as is. But you could keep going. You could pre-paint this with glitter glue or any kind of materials that you wanted, and then let it dry before you assemble it. So I'm going to flip it over when I'm done. Then I'm going to take some of my pieces of tissue paper to put behind to fill in the windows. I'm going to use some orange. Let's see what else I have in here. Some yellow. I'll grab the whole little stack here. I'm going to use my glue stick to put a little bit of glue around the back of each window and then stick the tissue paper on. So when your battery operated light is inside, that will make each of these little window spaces glow, just like a real window. And you can use whichever colors that you want. In fact, it's not totally crucial for you to put the tissue paper behind the windows, but I think it does give your house a really beautiful look to it. Now our door here, you can open your little door slightly. So let me show you how you can even put a little piece of colored paper behind your door. So see how that pops open? I'm going to just bend that outward a little bit, and then I'll put a piece of colored paper behind where the door is, and then that will give a little bit of a glow. Just like that. Okay, so I have my tissue paper and my windows. I have my outside decorated, so let me show you how to assemble your house. Each of the pieces is scored for folding. So it'll show you the areas that you're going to want to fold with these little lines that are scored in. So see, every place that's scored, I'm going to be bending. Here's the back. It's bending gently, and it's starting to look three-dimensional. Now when I have it bent all the way around, see how it's starting to look like a house? Now this is where this part I'm going to want to glue to the back part of my house. I'm going to be using my glue gun. So if you have a glue gun, this is a good way to assemble your house, but you can also use a glue like tacky glue. You might just need to use a clothespin to hold your piece in place while it dries. So that'll just take a moment to set up. Now we're going to fold in these end pieces that are scored. You can see just slightly where they have a faint little line. I'm going to bend those in on each of the ends of the house, and see how the end of the house is starting to look a little bit more pointy like this. I'll do that on the other side. And then this flap over here, I'm going to bend that on the score line a little bit and unbend it. Now I'll use my hot glue again. I'm going to watch my fingers here because these are little areas. I'm going to put a little glue here, a little glue here, and I will hold these in place while they dry. And this is going to make 1/2 of my roof. So in your kit, you will also find a big rectangular piece that looks like this. This is going to be the top of your roof. So I'm going to score it. It's scored, so I'm going to bend it. And then that's going to be fit on. Now this one, I think I may want to trim that a little bit. Don't you think? It looks a little bit long. So I'm going to use my scissors, and I'm going to cut the edge of my roof. Now if I wanted to, I'm going to make this one a little curvy edge so it looks like there's a little bit of snow on the roof. I'm going to do the same on the back. This is all optional. You can make yours look exactly how you want it to look. So when I fit that on, and I think that looks pretty good. So what I'll do is I will use my hot glue to attach my roof. I'm going to put a couple little lines here, and then I will hold it in place while the glue sets. Now let's look on our punched out sheet for the pieces that will create the other parts that we're going to need to add. There's a little piece here that looks like this. This is going to be the chimney of our house. And there are a couple of other little pieces here that you may or may not want to use. We have these little scalloped pieces here. You can use them in different ways. They could be a fence in front of your house. You could use them to put edges on your roof. Those you can be really creative with how you want to add them to your house. So my little chimney, where the score lines are, I'm going to fold it in like this until you have all of the flaps folded, and then you're going to glue these two together on the end to make your tiny chimney. I'll add a little bit of glue here, Hold it together. I'm using a low temperature glue gun. You don't want to get hot glue on your fingers. It doesn't feel very good. So now this is what your little chimney part is going to look like. And it's got these flaps here that attach to the top of your house. So where do you want your chimney? Do you want it in the middle, on the side? You can decide. So when you've decided, put a little bit of glue on each flap and then put your chimney in place, just like that. Now let's find the piece to make the base of our house. It looks like this. So this piece, it's scored on these sides. You're going to have to look carefully where you see a little faint line, and wherever those faint lines are where you're going to fold your cardboard. So I'm going to fold it sharply down here and here. See how well it folds on those little lines? And this direction. And those tabs that you see, those are little parts that are sticking out here. These are what you're going to bend like this so that you can have a little place to glue these two sides together. And this is going to make a really cute little base for your house. Now, if you want to be creative and find something different to use for a base of your house, maybe you have a little wooden box, or maybe you want to use a bigger scrap of cardboard so that you can have more room to make an area outside your house to decorate, you could do that. I'm holding this to dry just for a moment, each little corner. For younger children, it would be a lot easier to have an adult or an older child help with the assembly process. But even the very youngest children can have fun decorating these little houses, especially if you use materials like markers or tempera paint. It's really fun to add all the little special decorations on. Once this is all assembled, you can see that there's another tab here. This one you're going to bend up. And that's going to make sort of a little hinge here that your house can be on as you attach it to the base so that it can lift up. So I'll put a little glue on my tab here. And at the back here, I'm going to attach the back of my house to that tab underneath and hold it to dry. That way it can hinge up so that you can put that tiny candle lantern inside the little battery powered candle lantern. Now let's find a couple more things here. There's some other pieces that you can use as decorations. See these little zigzaggy pieces? Those are very optional. The part I'm looking for here is this little part. Where did it go? That's my little roof for my front door, and I think I see it in there. It fell out. You might need to check your bag if you're missing any pieces, because they may have just fallen down in amongst all the other tiny things. Here it is. This little piece, what this does is it makes a tiny roof for your front door. So you're going to bend it like this. See how I bent it a little bit? And then on top of your curvy front door here, you'll see these little slits. You might need to put your hand inside the house to get this to fit in. I'm going to take these tabs and I'm going to fit them into those slots. I might need to bend this up a little bit so you can see it. There you go. See how I'm going to slip this in to these little slots here, and that's going to make a tiny little roof to go above your front door. Oh, and I kind of like how that looks all bent like that now. I think that actually looks kind of cool. Let me show you a fun technique that you can do using glitter and glue. So you may or may not have glitter in your house, but if you do, this is a really fun way to use glitter to make a really beautiful effect for your house. So I'm using a tray here to keep everything neat and clean. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some tempera paint here that I'm going to paint onto where I want my glitter to go. So I'm going to make the roof of my house this purple color, painting on this tempera paint. I'm going to avoid the area of the chimney. I think I might want that to be a different color. So I'm going to cover all those areas with tempera paint. Now I'm going to use glitter and I'm going to stick it right to that paint while it's wet. And I'm using a crystal glitter. So the crystal glitter shows the color of the paint underneath. And I think it gives it a really beautiful effect to add it to your colored paint. So if you have glitter and if you're allowed to use it in your house, you may want to add some glittery details to your mini winter house. Let's see what else we have that we might want to add. So in your kit, which I have let fall off the table, let's see what else we have in here that we might want to use. So all these things are optional, and you may want to add from your own collection of things that you might have at home. Let's pull these things out. We've got some colored papers, some punch outs, some sequins. Oh, here's a tiny tree. Some more sparklies and shapes. So these are for your final decorations. This cotton, here's a fun thing that you can do with the cotton. If you take a piece of it and pull it with your fingers like this, see how the ends look fluffy? Then you can stick that into your chimney and it'll look like a little bit of smoke coming out of your chimney. You can also cut little strips of the cotton and you can glue them onto your base and it will look like there's snow on the ground. I'm even going to take my strip here and I'm going to pull it apart a little bit just so that it looks a little bit fluffier. So we'll attach this with our hot glue. I'm going to need to put a line of glue here. And remember, this is your house, so you can make any kind of decorations that you like. If you have any little figurines or special decoration stickers, you can add those. I'm going to make sure I leave room for my tiny tree. I'm going to put a blob of glue there. Here's my tiny tree. Give it enough room to stay. I'm going to add a little bit more cotton there. And let's see, what else might be a fun finishing touch for my house? I have all these beautiful sparklies. I'm going to maybe put a couple sparklies on this side, these little sequins. Watch those fingers. I'm going to put it on the end here. There's a sparkly, and then I'm also going to put this little paper heart there. Now my finishing touch, all I need to do is add my tiny little battery operated tea light. And I can tilt up my house, put my tea light inside, and then watch the windows glow, if you can see them. I hope you have a lot of fun doing this project. I love making these little houses, and I hope you will too.